and anyone watching on TV. And I see Michael Herman, our Select Board Liaison, is also joining us via Zoom. Good morning, Michael. The first item on the agenda, I briefly put this on here, the fiscal '24 water quality budget funding request that our committee met a few weeks ago to update and discuss and finalize. That has gone in to the finance director, which I guess will then go on to the select board. George told me that. It went immediately, so the revisions and wording and things that we discussed were not needed at this time, according to George. If it becomes an article, then we have time to make sure that the technical details that are needed and all that will be added. But it did go in. I did get some additional clarification on the funding request, that we made for interim treatments for Pilgrim and Crystal Lake and what was funded in the past and what was still needed. The initial budget request back in, I believe it was the fiscal '22, was for $90,000, and the select board allocated $40,000 for an alum treatment for one of the two lakes, either Pilgrim or Crystal. It wasn't established or determined at that time, but that money is, the money for the actual alum treatment remains available for the work. It has already been allocated. So what's missing is the additional $25,000 for one lake to permit the treatment if the select board decides to go forward and bring it to the town meeting for one lake. And then we also, if you recall, requested funding for alum treatment for another lake, which would be either Crystal or Pilgrim, and the permitting. At the time when George submitted the initial funding back for fiscal '22, we hadn't gone through the entire Uncle Harvey's Pond, and he had not been aware that we also should have had a request for the permitting to go into. So that's why only the actual treatment is funded right now, but not the permitting. So I don't know if that clarifies, but it was specifically for Crystal or Pilgrim Lake, for freshwater ponds. It was Article 19, I believe, if anyone has a good memory about that. Article 19.
So are you saying that there's a total of $90K approved for
No,
Pilgrim?
initial
Sorry,
request.
40 plus 25.
Well, initial request was 90, that would have been two lakes, but only the 40 was allocated by the select board, and it went as an article to town meeting. It was town meeting article, May 22nd, 2021, Article 19, described the use of the funds as freshwater ponds remediation, $40,000.
Okay.
Funds remain available for this work, is what George told me.
Got it.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
but the work then won't go forward until the permitting is approved, right?
Correct.
So we're stuck, are we?
Yes.
well, we're hoping that as part of our funding request, that's included now, the $25,000 for permitting for one lake, plus we also requested funding for the second
Right.
lake,
Right. Okay.
which is permitting and the actual
That's what I'm
treatment.
trying,
So that's
yeah.
why that remaining portion
okay.
is now, is $100,000 for all of them,
Everything.
both of them. $25,000 would be needed to complete one.
And this would be for the May town meeting? This,
Well, it needs to go to the select board.
Right.
and But if they advance it, then it would go to, as an article. Michael may be able to clarify a little more, but it's a stage. It's got to get through the process, so. Did you want to add anything, Michael? I don't know when.
No, you described it correctly. Yeah, it goes to the select board now, I believe, if you put it on with the finance director.
Yep.
And we'll either vote to place and recommend.
Okay. And do you know when you're going to discuss water quality request?
I do not know the exact date. It'll be sometime in March. I mean, everything's coming in, I think the deadline, so we have to look at all of the budget overrides and all of the requests during the month.
Correct. Okay.
And some will action on and some will wait, so for more information, et cetera. So I don't know the exact date we would be acting on any individual one.
Do you need any clarification from us as far as the money that was already allocated versus what's still needed to complete one lake, and then what's needed to complete two, if that's what you decide?
No, but I mean, you might want to have it, I would maybe for the committee, have it written out. I mean, you have it for one lake, which is the 40,000 you're saying is already approved for a treatment. What you're going after now is both lakes to being permitted and one lake to being treated.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Right. So you just, I mean, maybe list that out. I know there seems to be some confusion for people.
Yeah, it was confusing to me also, but basically, as soon as it left this committee at our last meeting, it went right to the finance director. So we didn't add the details, but we can certainly provide the details.
Yeah, any backup information would be helpful to remind the select board. It was before my time when they approved the first, this first 40K, but, you know, it would be good they could have the history and know what is been approved and what you're asking for this town.
Okay, well, our request was for funding to complete both interim treatments for both, but of course, you have the discretion to decide what you, as a select board, want to do, whether you wanted to just go forward with one, then it would just be 25,000. If you go through with two, it'd be 100. Yes, Mary?
Just a question. You may have talked about this at the last meeting, which I sadly missed, but we had an opportunity to explain and express the importance of item number 4, water quality data analysis and report, and how important it is to be able to show water quality trends in our freshwater systems so that people can see and understand them? Is that?
Yeah, yes, we had a pretty robust discussion about that. We amended the wording to include up to 15 freshwater ponds.
Nice.
Because the original wording had just described the estuaries.
Right.
And so that request has also gone in. There's additional information and technical wording that we would then provide for an actual article, should that be approved by the select board to go forward as an article. Because I felt, and I think we all felt, it needed a little more clarification
Right.
on what would be included in that request. But it is in,
Beautiful.
yeah. it
Thank
is.
you.
Yes. And thank you, Michael. Anyone have comments?
Just
Additional?
So I think what you're saying is there was no changes made from what we saw originally that George presented, that was submitted as it was. And then in the future, if this moves forward, then for the warrant, whatever, that they might make those changes in the wording at that
I
point.
think when an actual article is created, you have the opportunity to provide the
Okay.
background information and additional details. Yeah, it went fast. Apparently, they really needed it quickly, so it
Yeah.
went fast without some of the, but George is aware that we would like, if appropriate, we would like to make sure that there's enough technical information and explanations in there so that voters know what they're voting about.
Right.
And it's
Okay.
clear. But it did go in. And it does include the fact that up to 15 freshwater ponds. That wording is in there.
Oh.
The revisions that we made,
Yes.
but we knew that there was additional wording that should, in clarifications on both those. Remember, we voted to postpone the Boland Pond
Right.
Management Plan,
Right, yeah.
and so we only have the two going forward.
Right.
And right now, he said that level of information, based on our meeting 2 weeks ago, was sufficient for the budget process.
Okay. So in other words, that, the Bowling Pond request then was removed, whatever, when,
Well, I like to say postponed.
Postponed, right, sorry,
Postponed
but
from
from
this,
the
this
particular
this particular, yeah.
okay.
I don't like to remove something permanently, but it's postponed. We decided, we prioritized, as we had heard from Michael and others, that, needs and wants and priorities, and so that's what we've done. So the request is reduced by, what was it, 50? Well, I don't have the original on there, but
Yeah.
I think Bowling Pond was 55,000 or something. So that's been postponed, so we're not requesting that.
Okay.
Anyone else have any further questions or comments? Okay,
55,000.
it was 55,000, okay, so we've postponed that request for now, anyway. So item 3 is the discussion of, further discussions on our freshwater lake and pond monitoring and estuary monitoring. I know Judith cannot be here today. I know she's working hard on the recruitment of volunteers. The update that I can give you is that the 6 new dissolved oxygen meters that the town ordered through SMAS so that they could, get the educational discount, those DO meters are in. SMAS has received them. They will all be calibrated and ready by either mid to the 3rd week of March, as well as our other meters, which we still have to send down to them, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So we should talk about getting those down
Yeah.
to SMAS. If I need to deliver them, I will. Our bottles for freshwater pond sampling are already ready. I talked with Sarah Sampieri, who's at their lab. Saturday, I talked with her, and they're all ready for us now, so. Sounds like they're on top of the things that we need from them.
Okay.
Did you want to add anything, Carolyn?
No, we just need to find a way to get the stuff we have here to them and vice
Yes.
versa.
And I'm happy to take a run off Cape to deliver. If they're not going to be up here, they probably won't be up here until April, so we probably, when they start the Lonnie's Pond, so I can make a run.
Okay, they said something about scoping out lines in your workshop, so I don't know when they thought they were going to do that.
Yeah, I think the first Lonnie's Flux is April, and so it might be a little too close for comfort for us.
Yes.
We like to get everything ready to go sooner than that.
Well, the
so-
meters need to be ready by April 1st.
Yes.
Yeah, I
So-
can drive too.
And so issues like changes in availability, Carol, like you need to let Judith know.
Yeah, yeah, and I have no idea what my.
I know that,
availability
but
is.
just let her know.
Yeah.
Because that's key.
Yeah,
She will go out there and grab other people. Any other comments or updates that others have? Okay, and we did set our dates already, and I did provide those dates to Ed Eichner as our tentative sampling dates for freshwater ponds.
Okay.
So,
I'm going to do mine on either April 11th or 12th, depending on what the,
those were one of the dates we already
Yes.
talked about. Yep.
yeah, and then there were some later on in the month, but I can't do those.
And we had sort of a fallback date for weather and things like that. Yeah. Getting the dates from Bob Duncanson on the estuary sampling is critical. I'm hoping that that will come soon. So the next item is wastewater advisory committee. Judith Bruce normally does this update, and she can't be here today. She did send, though, a very nice summary for us. Did everyone
Yeah.
receive it and were able to read it?
I have it here. I can read it if you want. into
Well, that
the
was the
record.
question, should I read it in for anyone that is watching?
I think so.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I haven't, well, I've read it once, but hopefully I will speak coherently. So she wrote, as promised, the update report on the wastewater management advisory committee, she's providing that. and now she's reporting on the committee actions taken. This was at their last meeting, which I believe was just last week. The committee unanimously voted to recommend a warrant article to the Select Board to fund the preliminary design for Phase 3 sewer plan to protect Crystal Lake, Pilgrim Lake, and Lonnie's Pond. The area to be studied as part of the preliminary design is considered larger than what the final sewer footprint will include in order to provide options and enable future work and connections. This plan will include 29 properties for Crystal Lake, 32 for Pilgrim, and as yet to be finalized number for Lonnie's, awaiting final nutrient reduction calculations. So, as you know, they're trying to address not just nitrogen but also phosphorus, or vice versa, phosphorus and nitrogen. While these numbers for the freshwater lakes are greater than the number quoted by Ed Eichner, he was referencing only properties currently producing nutrients to the lakes, and she's referring to phosphorus in particular. This includes current, near-future contributors, vacant, or conserved properties. Parentheses, included for these purposes but known not to be contributing now, and in some cases ever. And incidental properties, which are those properties that the pipe must pass and will therefore be connected despite not contributing to the particular watershed. Pilgrim represents a particular issue in that the properties which are on Signet and Romer's lanes need to be connected to the system or handled in another manner. At present, under consideration and being further investigated are, 1, an easement under private property to connect to the rest of the sewered properties in this phase, 2, a small package plant which would direct the phosphorus effluent out of the Pilgrim watershed, and 3, phosphorus-reducing IA septic systems. She further writes, in a follow-up meeting to Wastewater Management Advisory Committee, the DEP confirmed her concern, my concern, because she's writing this, that state revolving funds, which are usually you hear it referred to as SRF, cannot be used to fund wastewater approaches which only address phosphorus. So the phosphorus IA systems are the least attractive approach, especially in light of the sketchy amount of phosphorus actually removed. A sewer or package plant, which would address both nitrogen and phosphorus, are eligible for SRF funding. DEP expressed approval for the work done to date between Orleans and Eastham to initiate a watershed permit, this is a separate topic, for Nauset Estuaries and Rock Harbor, and offered advice on next steps. She concludes by saying preliminary design is the first funding step of what is generally a 3-year wastewater phase. It can probably be funded from our wastewater designated short-term rental fund without requiring overrides, as it is a relatively small amount of money. Sorry to miss our meeting. I did watch the meeting. I think Carolyn Kennedy was on there. Were you on there you came in at some point.
I watched the whole thing.
Yeah.
Copy?
My only comment really is, they talked about a nibble approach. Like,
Judith said,
I've got it.
oh, okay.
yeah. They talked about a nibble approach, which, because of things like Romer's, which is a challenge for access. But we know that at a minimum, you have, I believe it's 18 properties for Pilgrim Lake that, if sewered, would address all the water quality goals that Orleans has for that lake. And some of those properties are in that difficult areas. So depending on how they decide to proceed, I concern that a delay regarding the timing of sufficient pea removal, may not happen. It could take a long time, I'm not sure. So that's why I think personally it's important for funds for an interim remediation, as we recommended, if it was going to take more than 5 years, and that was back in 21, that be considered so that at least the money's in place, should it be needed, especially if there's a bloom or something. But they're working on that, and Judith was wonderful as far as making sure She was great to make sure that Pilgrim and Crystal Lakes were included, the goal to reduce the phosphorus and address the nutrient needs for those lakes was included. So she was a very good advocate for that, and it's much appreciated. And it's there, and it's part of the potential phase if it moves forward.
Have you all seen the map that's included? That they were discussing when they did this?
Yeah, Judy.
Not
sent that
sure.
around.
Okay.
I don't
No,
know which version it is.
Yeah.
I did not have the most recent one. I had some earlier versions. But I didn't have the version they were discussing that day. I think it just came out the morning before, and I didn't have a hard,
The
I
only
didn't,
difference was that they had this area included. They discussed taking it in, putting it out, whatever, so.
that's the Romer's and Signet area?
no,
No.
that's on the right-hand
That's
side of the
up here.
page.
Oh, okay.
And that's also not shaded as, but I think they're still,
They're still monkeying with it.
I mean, they want to make sure that it goes forward as far as, funding to do further evaluation and do the engineering estimates and all that. So this is just make sure it gets going. And there are a lot of things that will have in the future that will get worked out, I'm sure.
I have to say, after listening to the meeting, that I find the calculations very complicated and hard to follow. Not so much with regard to the freshwater, but in talking about Lonnie's Pond.
Yeah.
And they discuss, there was the numbers given that I don't quite follow, and was hoping maybe somebody could make sense of this. Where some houses were marked to be 0.5, and other houses were said to be 4 in terms of the actual amount of nitrogen coming out of them that was going to affect Lonnie's Pond. And I don't know why there's such a large variation from 0.5 to 4. It just seems to me that, some houses are bigger, so maybe there's a bigger number, but it just seemed like there's some things going on that I don't quite understand. And one of them is, how much value do they actually put that the freshwater ponds are remediating some of the nitrogen?
That
And
is fair.
therefore, they're descending the amount.
They've got that worked out. I think,
Yeah, attenuation is what the ponds take.
How do you calculate that?
They have a figure for what freshwater ponds will attenuate typically, and Judith would probably know off the top of her head whether it's 50% or whatever, but that is all factored in, number of bedrooms, water use records, so that's why you may see
Yeah,
a difference from house to house.
But 0.5 to 4, versus 4, that's an eightfold difference. And
That's a good
I
question.
couldn't really come up with,
well, you might have a house that's used year-round, and you may have some that are only
Might be
used for a couple of
seasonal,
weeks in
yeah.
the summertime. So they're doing it on water
Oh.
use.
okay.
It's water use is a big part of that,
The worry I had was with the nitrogen attenuation due to the freshwaters. Because I did a little, this is dangerous, but I did a little Google searching,
Uh-oh,
trying to get a little information on that.
yes.
And there's slightly bad news in that clean ponds attenuate much less nitrogen than dirty ones. And if we're going to be cleaning up our ponds, we're going to be reducing the nitrogen
interesting-
attenuation.
that's interesting,
So
yeah.
I don't know if that affects the calculations.
It's harder and harder.
Because
I've
of that
never heard this
Redfield
talked
number or
about.
something,
and I
maybe?
was wondering about it.
My guess is that, ponds that are more eutrophic have more algae in them.
Oh, yeah,
and the
obviously.
plants are then taking
That's how they
up-
do it.
And so they take up the
Yeah.
nutrients, so that makes sense that if you had a real oligotrophic lake with less
Clean.
algae in there,
Right, well, I
And
found.
bugs in the bottom.
yeah, and it has to do with sediment too.
And that's been studied, the report I was looking at was with two lakes that were in Switzerland, and they did a study there, and they essentially proved the point that I just mentioned. So,
But that's a good question that we could ask, the town's technical, Ed Eichner, his technical consultant.
Yeah.
Ask him to explain that.
And
you know, in
another,
an email, not physically come in and
Yeah.
explain it, but I'm sure he'd be happy. I can give you his email address, or I can ask the question, whichever you'd like.
well, I'm just bringing it up to sense the interest of our committee as to how much we want to get involved. I mean, we can just trust the wastewater advisory committee to go through all this, or how much do we want to know about it? It's unclear to me how deep we should go.
It's unclear to me how much the engineers talk to the scientists. That's always been something that
Yeah.
I've wondered about.
Right,
Which
exactly.
they should be working together, but I'm not sure what.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I mean, would it be possible that we could ask someone like Mike Giggy, who's the engineer on the project, to talk with us for half an hour or something?
I think we'd need to work through the wastewater management
Yeah,
advisory
I mean,
committee.
he's
I would
obviously a
shoot the
busy
questions
fellow.
through there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would go to,
Yeah,
through there, since he's the consultant for the town working with that committee. I did find it interesting that water use, they showed water use over time. Mike Giggy had, it was Tom Parise, maybe? Tom Parise? From AECom. And, you know, COVID had an impact on water use in Orleans, as you would expect. A lot of people were here, you know, they escaped the cities and came to their seasonal homes and stayed here for the year and worked remotely. And water use had gone down some in other areas, but the watersheds on the freshwater ponds, I think, had gone up. You know, Crystal Pilgrim Lake had gone up, which, do you remember hearing that? No?
I
Carol?
remember the chart, but
Yeah, there was one place where water use had actually continued to increase. I thought that was interesting. But that's a good question, Ed, and I thank you for bringing that up, and I can try to get an answer for you.
that'd be
I think it's a
great.
good question. It is a good question.
all of these calculations, of course, are based on our soil conditions and the permeability of our
Right.
soils, which may not be true for Switzerland, so. have to take that into
That's true,
consideration.
yeah. They have Alps there and stuff.
Well, they have rocks, we have
Yeah.
sand. That's a big difference.
Yeah.
Lots of sand.
Well,
But maybe if you would like to write out the question, so that it's,
Sure.
yeah, that'd be great.
Just speaking in general, since we're on this topic, it's also unclear to me, you know, with nitrogen flowing freely through the soils, why aren't we concerned about all of it and reaching, if not Aries, Lonnie's Pond, it's going to eventually wind up in Pleasant Bay. I mean, I worry about over-calculating from the engineer's point of view, all of this, and how there's a desire to keep things at a minimum because of cost, obviously. But maybe we're trying too hard to minimize, and maybe it should be a bigger effort to get as much of that nitrogen as you can, because all of it is,
We don't need to take all of it out.
You
No.
need,
There's a certain
you-
percentage we need to take out.
right, but the calculations of that, don't you need a little extra to make sure you're going to meet it? Because I don't
Well, we
think
still have
we're at that-
all South Orleans we haven't even touched yet, so,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you think we're on schedule then?
well,
Well-
all I can, I mean, we've got some of the world's best experts on this project, so I can't
Okay.
second guess them.
I can tell you that when SMAS did all the, you know, when the TMDLs, the total
Yeah,
maximum daily
right.
loads were developed, they took a very conservative approach.
Okay,
Because of that,
okay. Oh, well, good.
yeah.
Glad to hear that.
And I know some of those are being looked at, they revise, they're, you know, the monitoring that we do, the continuous monitoring, there are some areas, I know in Pleasant Bay, I think Nauset Estuary are being updated because things have changed. Of course, the inlet migrated and also Chatham is now online with sewer system.
Right.
So they do periodically also look to see if there have been significant changes and whether something needs to be
Yeah,
updated or modified. But they did take a very conservative approach. So,
happy to hear that.
yes. So I thank Judith for providing that nice update for us. and hope she's enjoying herself right now.
Seems to.
Right now, I mean. Are there any other comments on this particular topic? Wastewater Management Advisory? Okay. So, next up is the Pilgrim Lake Herring Run, the spring 2023 visual count. Rich is the volunteer coordinator, and he's going to give us an update. But Rich, I'm going to ruin your day right from the very beginning by telling you that Nate Sears texted me last Friday to tell me that they refer to them as scouts or early arrivals, have already shown up in Middleborough.
Wow.
And then I saw Brad Chase on Saturday, and he said they've shown up at some other locations as well, Buzzards Bay, Wareham. They're close, and I was worried that that might happen because of the mild winter that we've had. I'm hoping they stay away a little longer because we're not quite there yet. Brad did tell me that the Division of Marine Fisheries will be trying to get the equipment in early because they know these fish are coming early. So, now that I've instilled fear into poor Rich,
We'll help you out.
they've been coming in early, for quite a few years, but and we always used to go with April 1st as our visual count start date. The herring have been showing up in March. I want to say, was it the 15th last year, 16th, something
like
like
that.
that? They usually beat me home from Florida, but I didn't go to Florida this year. So, I don't know. I mean, they could, with this colder weather now, hang for, before they actually come up, but Nate's aware. Scott Johnson, our herring keeper, is aware, and certainly the Division of Marine Fisheries is aware. So I know you're trying to take notes as well as
Sure,
talk,
I'm all
but I was
set.
kind of
I'm
giving you
organized.
some,
Yeah.
so please.
All right,
Rich.
so I'll give you a brief update. So at this point, just as a reminder, we have 9 teams, which divides up the day, the 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. day. I have all the reported information in from 7 teams. I still need 2,
Yes, I'm one of your holdouts. I
You are.
apologize. Yep.
so I figured I'd let you admit it.
I am admitting it on public TV, yes.
And one of the other team captains has not, but that person's counters are usually pretty reliable. So at this point, there are, without knowing Judy's and this other person's,
You know
well, we
some
know,
of mine.
yeah, we know that we're missing a Saturday for you, right? Where
Judith
Judith
Bruce,
used
correct,
to
because
be.
she's going to be a captain.
So Judith has also been very busy taking volunteers in. I believe they're coming from OPC, but I'm not quite sure when I see the memos coming through. So I've contacted at least 3 of those people. The bad news on that is I have 2 people now who want the same day on same time on Sunday. So we do have 2 people who can only do Sundays. Other than that, I'm currently missing 2 Tuesday slots, one Saturday slot, actually 3 Tuesday slots now that I look at it. So Tuesdays, for some reason, seems to be a tough one. 2 Saturday and 1 Sunday. But I do have the Sunday covered in one way or another. I do need to know from you whether or not your team member was, your team captain was waiting for you to get back, to whether you're going to
I'm
be able
sorry,
to
and I
handle
was-
your,
The South Pacific, but yes, I would love to,
okay.
yeah.
All right, so what I'm going to do is, I'm going to just put a yes next to your name, and I can contact your captain, Ken Jorgensen, and let him know. So those are the times we have, and we're getting a few volunteers through OPC or Judith Bruce, but it hasn't helped a lot because we got overlaps. These people, I believe, I know, have day jobs and weekend jobs through Saturday, so they want, so we're trying to work that out. I didn't know if you wanted to give up one of your times or not, but on Sunday.
Oh, give up one of mine. Well, Sunday is important because I collect the data sheets.
collect all the data sheets,
So Sunday
okay.
is
Yeah.
definitely,
So anyway, I'm trying to work that through. So we are missing a few, and we just need to get those filled in. And yes, I'll have to,
I'm reasonably sure that I can be available for everything beginning in April. I am not sure yet what it's going to be like for me
Yeah.
at the end of March. So if those herring come early, like
yep.
next week,
Oh, gosh, if they do.
I'm probably not going to be able to do that one, and likely not at least the week after. But,
Okay.
and it's
and
not
that's your
something I'm going to know. It
Wednesday
depends.
slot at 5:40?
Yeah, and it depends when I'm able to leave the house.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so I've got a note here. I'm going to mark you down as a yes, and she's on your team. We may have to cover for her in March.
Yep.
So it'll be at 5:40.
I did
on
not
Wednesdays.
pester Carol for obvious reasons about this.
Yeah,
so.
obviously. Did you have another time also, or just the one?
No, just the one.
Great.
Peter and I have done it together, just because it
Yeah,
was
obvious.
fun that way, but
Yep.
I can do it.
Yep.
I just can't guarantee when I'll be ready to rock and roll.
All right, so we'll just have to keep that.
Do you,
Yours?
Yeah, are you collecting, like, for example, myself being retired, I can fill in emergency purposes, and I'm assuming there are a lot of retired people who, if you put them on, ask them, would probably do the same. So if you make a list
Yes,
of volunteers that can fill in, that would
Right.
be,
So I have, as part of the spreadsheet, I have a third sheet that has a group of people who over time have volunteered.
yeah.
And so, and I've grouped them according to their preferred day.
Oh.
So I do have that. I don't have you on that sheet.
I mentioned it to the team captain who contacted me,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
I don't know to what extent you're collecting that
Yeah, I
information.
do.
Okay. And
Yeah.
I would think a lot of retired people would fill in, like, for example, I'm willing to do a lot,
Okay.
but not on a regular basis, you
Right.
know. I had my regular time, but, you know,
Yeah, so on this committee, the two people that I have is Bob Mullen, who's not here today,
Yeah.
and I'll put yourself on this list.
Yeah.
And if you have a particular day or days that are best for you,
that's all depends
yeah.
on doctor appointments and all that, but
What day do you have me down for? What day do you have me down for, Rich?
I have you down for, hold on, I just wrote on it, so I should be able to find it pretty quickly. Let me see, where are you? I have you down for 3 to 4:20 on Thursday.
Okay, I can definitely still do that. But I can also be a fill-in.
Okay. I don't know. Yeah.
Carol?
Any particular day that's better for you on the fill-in, or your,
The only time I can't do is Sundays and Friday afternoons, because I work those days.
not Sunday and not Saturday afternoon,
Friday afternoons.
Friday?
All right, I went to let you in, but you were gone.
I know.
how come there are 9 teams and not just 7 for each day of the week, or?
Yeah.
So it's the time period that's covered.
It's done by the time periods, so for the periods, the hour and 20 minutes divided.
So it goes
divide
from
that
7
into
in the
7
morning to
a.m.
7 at night.
Okay.
So that's why.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
All
actually
right.
quite nice. It works out.
Okay.
So
It's like
the
an
good
hour
news
and 40
is,
minutes each time slot, something like that.
I mean, if I can get the last two captains to,
Is that
you
for
know,
the
confirm.
calculation? Oh,
Yes.
for the calculation purposes.
No.
This is
Yeah.
a state program, and there's a statistical program that they run these
Yeah,
numbers through.
right.
And so it's all worked out with these time slots that go from, there's 9 per day from 7 in the morning to 7 at night. So like ours is the last one of the day, which is 5:40 to 7 o'clock. That's Team 9.
and I've seen some
Oh,
other
I see what you're
sampling.
just saying, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've
Team
seen
1
I
is
some
thought it was
7.
by day, and you're saying it's by time.
Yep.
I have to do it both ways, so I have to keep that in mind each time, but, yeah, so that's all, and so
Okay.
Judith brought up the fact that, and maybe this exists, but I don't think it does, that we really don't have a master description of what we do. So I'm actually working on that. And I went to the natural resources site and stuff, looking at those statistical sampling and all the other stuff they recommend. And so I'm kind of putting together, and making sure our data sheet conforms, which it does thanks to earlier work that was done. So I'm putting all that together, and I'm going to have I've already integrated the sampling sheet into this SOP. It's kind of like an SOP.
That's great, because,
Yeah.
Yeah.
next person who takes this on will have all that to
Yeah.
help them out.
Yeah, so,
Right.
but I will need help to do kind of a review of that, so I'm thinking that would be a number of different people, potentially Chase and also
Yeah.
any of the other seers, just to make sure that all of it makes sense. I think you'll be able to tell immediately looking at it, but, so that was Judith's idea, so I started working on that, and I think I'll have that done almost close to March 15th or so, when we're
Great.
ready to go.
You've been doing a great job.
Yeah, so I think we're going to be okay. It's just that we do need to find some more people, and we need to do a blast. I keep thinking about what you wrote last year. It really helped. I'm wondering if we need to repurpose that.
remember
Do you
what I wrote.
remember you wrote up the
How
whole,
we met.
yeah, you
The
did the
water
interviews and
everywhere
stuff.
article.
Yeah, and I don't mean to put more work on you, but that
There
helped.
you do.
Well,
Welcome back, now.
I'm trying to mitigate that by saying, can we repurpose that and maybe just a few updates? I could even do it myself for you. And then can we get that out somewhere with the link back to OPC or wherever we want to do it? Because that we seem to be getting volunteers, a
Right,
few.
yeah, I mean, if you tell me what you want, I'm happy to sort of rework. You're talking about the summary that was in the Chronicle of the herring
Yeah,
effort, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, just tell me how long you want it to be and what,
I think just doing it in such a way that maybe it makes it a little more interesting for people to say, wow, I might be interested in doing this. I'm going to try to integrate eventually some pictures into that SOP also, some of the ones we've taken. And
right.
often some of our volunteers have taken pictures.
Are you thinking you want this published in the Chronicle again, or you want it to go out in an email blast or something?
I think the email blast is pretty good, but I don't know how we do it so we get the town through the more people. In other words, we're getting some people that read the Chronicle, getting some people that are on the OPC mailing list, I
You
believe.
submit it to both?
I'm sorry, what'd you say?
Submit to both?
Yeah,
Well, it's nice to get it in the paper, in the local papers, because it can potentially generate some more interest for
Yeah.
volunteers. I also think that moving forward, at least in my opinion, having the results and some of the
Yes.
important information is not always getting out, depends on the captain of the teams. And so I think maybe we need to look at doing a blast. Maybe that needs to be our responsibility, because it's just, I think maybe that's,
well, one of the things I'm doing in SOP is there has to be a captain's piece there, and there's bits and pieces of that, but I'm not sure that they haven't signed on like we do as a committee member here and say, this is what we're going to do. So I think in some cases, it kind of gets lost.
well, also, we used to have a captain's meeting every spring, you know?
Oh, we can definitely do that.
Physical meeting, coffee donuts or coffee muffins at someone's house, and have a captain's meeting, and that's where we discuss some of these things. And you know, we also used to have sort of a end of the season thank you for volunteers. It used to be Simeon Tsoupalos, who lived on the run there where we count. He doesn't own that property anymore, but he would allow us to do it on their front lawn. We had Brad Chase come in and talk to the volunteers. We had coffee and muffins.
That would be nice, I
One
think.
time, we did it at the Oddfellows Hall as a late afternoon, so we could serve adult beverages and snacks, you know. And again, we had guest speaker, usually Brad Chase would come in and talk, and I said some words, and Scott Johnson spoke, our herring, and people really enjoy that. We've kind of stopped doing that. The town doesn't do the things, the appreciation things that they did years ago either for volunteers. So I think it's important to do that.
Yeah.
Problem is, you know, someone has to host it, or we need to find a venue where we can accommodate enough people. So,
So
something to think about.
maybe I should think about having a captain's meeting.
That would be great if you're able
Immediately.
to do it.
Yeah.
Because they need to be updated, and the best thing
Yep.
is to get them all in the same room.
And we know that
It's only 9.
we've passed along some of the information, but it hasn't gotten any further.
Right, right. So do you have a Leslie Kalinowski on your list?
I'll tell you, it could be difficult.
We can do
'cause
this
it's
later. We
not
don't have to do-
alphabetical.
Oh, okay. Well,
No,
she wants to
no.
count again.
Is this for a permanent slot?
She
or-
wants to do it again, so she's done it before. She said, "I'm interested in counting herring again this year. Can you remind me what months we count? I think I had a Saturday slot last year,
Really?
but she works during the week, so Saturday and Sunday works best for her. Earlier the better.
Okay, so
Wants to know what's available."
is that with a C or a K?
A K.
I don't
Now,
have
I
her on the
forwarded
list.
this email to you, so we don't have to discuss.
Oh, just now?
This morning I did.
Oh, okay.
Right, so
I'll take care of
we
it.
don't have to do it now, but there's another person that wants to count
So
again.
that's why it would be good to have a meeting with the captains,
Yeah.
because even though I send out this list and ask for an update, that person is not on the list, but I can go back. I actually have the spreadsheets going back 2 years now, so I
Right.
can even go back and check that and see if she was on it, but
And-
I don't see that anywhere here.
Right, and she's also asking about the data that was collected and what were the trends and stuff,
Okay.
so.
All right. Okay, so I think that's it.
Well, you're doing a great job, and you're
side.
very organized, and it's great, Rich, and I really appreciate all you're doing.
Okay.
So thank you very much. Okay, the next, any other comments on this? Anybody? No? Okay. So the next item was, I put on here is the Cape Cod Commission Freshwater Pond Initiative. Carolyn and I, by invitation from George Meserve, met with George, Kevin Galligan, Carolyn and I, with the Cape Cod Commission, their deputy director, their person heading up natural resources at the commission, Tara Nye Lewis, who's their water resources analyst, and they gave a presentation on the freshwater pond initiative that the commission is doing in collaboration with APCC. So they discussed, they did a little slideshow and everything and explained everything. Their purpose was to establish a baseline and address strategic development and ongoing monitoring and analytical, monitoring of the Cape's freshwater ponds. So they're working with APCC to develop a regional monitoring program. We also talked to them about Orleans. They wanted to know the needs. After they introduced themselves and did an overview of the initiative in a regional context for freshwater planning. They also talked about freshwater goals, priorities, ongoing management efforts, and next steps. And they had questions for us also. What are the town's freshwater goals and priorities? Are there specific projects that we are working to advance? They asked what our challenges are, what have we faced as far as freshwater pond management. Certainly, our response was funding.
And volunteers.
And volunteers, yep. They asked what we would do to advance freshwater priorities if you had more support and tools and resources that we may need. In our particular case, we talked, for Orleans, we described our program. Orleans is fortunate that we're way ahead of almost all the towns on the Cape as far as our freshwater pond monitoring. We've been doing it for 23 years. We have robust data set. We have technical resources in SMAS at Eichner, and some of these people were involved in the initiation of earlier county, the Pond Atlas, and what the commission did years ago with the PALS program and all that. So Orleans is in really good shape. I commented that I saw that, something that Orleans can provide to the commission is feedback on our experiences, sharing of the data, helping with, education and outreach. Because we've already done this. We have a approved DEP, EPA-approved quality assurance project plan. They pointed out that a lot of these towns don't even have a QUAP. They're not doing their monitoring with an approved QUAP. Orleans does have one, and we do use it for our program. So we're kind of ahead. They're trying to, do this regionally across. So Carolyn was there, and I'm sure she has maybe some impressions that she took away. They are also developing Barnstable County pond profile and then one for each town. These are drafts. They said, please do not, it's not ready yet, but I'll send it. This is the Orleans one going to you, and that's the regional one. That's an idea of what they're looking to accomplish and have available out there.
Yeah, I think we also pointed out that we've been at it so long that we've helped adjacent towns get theirs established.
Yes.
So
Yes, we have.
we help both Brewster and Eastham get their,
So, I mean, I think it's important that Orleans still remain in control of its own program, but I think we have lots to contribute and participate with the county, too. That's my, you can look at it.
Okay.
I mean, I'll send it back down there and
Okay.
when,
Let me see it.
so I thought it was really good, and I was happy that we were able to go to that meeting. And I'm sure we'll continue to hear updates. There is also a Zoom meeting today, APCC Ponds and the Cape Cod Pond Network Zoom meeting today, 4 o'clock to 5:30. The topic will be communications, outreach, and engagement. So that's part of this whole thing. I can send the email to all of you that has the link, the Zoom link, if you're interested in
Yeah, I'm gonna,
participating.
yeah, so, yeah, the Pond Coalition, I think there's 4 of us attending
Two sides.
from the Pond Coalition.
Yes,